So, welcome our ITC2024. So, essentially, the purpose of tonight's session, this is as a tradition. At the beginning of each and every program, we get an opportunity to just talk about what we have installed for the program, and we also get to answer any questions that you might have during this particular session. So please feel free to engage as we go. And at any point in time, you can stop me to ask questions, any clarifying question or any question that you might have. But in terms of the agenda, it's quite a straightforward agenda, just to really talk about what you can expect once you're part of the program, what the program is all about, why did we structure it the way we structured it, and what is the anticipated outcomes at the end of the day. And I think one of the things that is quite important is because the ITC for the past couple of years has really been quite standardized. So it's very, very important that one understand what it's all about, and you will then see that in terms of the technical content, there's very little change or very little that we will tell you that you didn't know before. Yes, there could be an opportunity to talk about things that you thought about in a particular way, and we are just now refining that particular process. So what we then have as the agenda for tonight, it's just a formal introduction about Endunamo, the brand, and some few house rules just to make sure we are all aligned, especially because we'll then be having the classes on a hybrid basis. And therefore, we've got candidates that will be attending face to face as well as online. So we've just got about 6, 7 house rules that we just need to observe and just make sure that everybody um, gets an opportunity to engage, gets an opportunity to be listened to, and ensure that their queries are resolved too in a timely manner. Then I'm going to introduce you to the team, both the technical team as well as the caretaking team. One of the things that I'll also want to talk about, especially that this is the first program since 2020, ITC Gen 2020, that will be running fully on a face-to-face basis. I'll then want to talk to you about some of the things that you can expect, especially if you are able to come to campus and benefit from there. But even if you're attending the program online, we've got quite a lot of what we consider the community aspect of our program that we really are considered to be very important and very beneficial to one's journey in the program. Then we're going to talk about the structure of the program in quite a lot of detail, the different elements, the technical and the non-technical that we put together in order to ensure that you're successful. Then we'll share a few stories and they just let's call them the impact stories in terms of how the previous candidates have really benefited, engaged with the program, and what you can therefore expect. And lastly, we'll talk about the different ITC offering because we always get different queries around candidates who say that, yeah, I think I understand my problem, and this is the best way that I'll be able to handle it given these constraints that I've got. Maybe you find that someone is traveling quite a lot in this particular season and they're saying, from a class perspective, I might not be able to fully commit, but I know I need 1, 2, 3. Is there a way that I can get the assistance? So that is where we'll then talk about what the ITC offering. So just this agenda that we've got here. And as I said, at any point, if you've got questions, you are more than welcome to ask them. Yes, the questions and the answer session, it's noted at the end, but you can drop a chat. The caretakers are here. You can raise your hand and you'll get acknowledged and your queries will be attended to accordingly. So just a brief overview for those that will be considering attending the ITC board course with us for the very first time. So you've never attended any of our CTA support program and they've never done ITC, and you are saying, wait, who are these guys? What can I expect? So essentially a quick one. So we've got 3 brands that we run. And if you go on our website, you will see the details of all these 3 brands. So the first one is the CTA support, where we provide support and tutorial as well as lecture support to our UNISA cohort. So there we really then serve the candidates on a support and on a need basis. So this is facilitated through our CTA on demand offering. Then we've got at the end of the spectrum, the EPC brand, which is our APC professional program. So this is the program that is accredited by SAICA. And what we then do, we have a rigorous program that goes and develop the candidates' business acumen, critical thinking, ethical leadership, as well as communication skills in preparation for what? In preparation for entering the profession, as well as sitting for the APC. And in terms of the engagements that we're going to have and the material that you will then be having, it will be coming from the board course. So we've got the normal board course, which is where we house our ITC preparatory course. So the programs that we run are obviously the Jan and the June program, as well as an annual workshop that we have in order to just deal with what? With the previous ITC sitting ahead of Jan 2024, ahead of ITC Jan. So these are the 3 brands that we've got. For more details, you can also visit our website. But a lot of what you can expect over the next 3 months with us is what I'm going to talk to tonight. And as I'm saying, if anything, it does not make so much sense to you, please do not allow yourself to leave this session without understanding or fully understanding it. Then the house rules. So as I've mentioned, 7 house rules to be mindful of. And these are nothing more that you will not have seen or otherwise expected for a setting such as this. So just to go through them, the first one is that when it comes to queries, whether for this session and going forward, you can raise your queries via the chat platform. You can also raise your hand and it will be acknowledged. So it doesn't matter whether you are attending the class virtually or whether you are attending the class via what? Via Teams. So if you've got any question, please just be mindful that there could be others that have already raised their question. There could be others that are already in the queue. So it's always considerate to then what? To just then follow a protocol such as this. And because sometimes queries, especially when things get exciting, I know people always want to jump in. So what I'll then ask is that just wait to be acknowledged. So there are some instances where you feel you are just baiting, you want to let go of this issue now, you want to just throw in your input, you want to ask this particular question. So if you raise your hand, if you drop a query in the chat, all queries will be attended to. And what will then happen is that we will acknowledge and just confirm. In some cases, you might find that you are raising your hand and you're in the queue, but the question you're about to ask is going to be asked or has been asked by someone else, and you realize that, oh, it has already been resolved. So that is something that becomes what? Becomes also considerate in that regard. Then it's also important to give others a chance for their query to be finished. So I know sometimes a query comes in. Before a lecturer is done, someone gets excited and they want to jump in or ask a follow-through question. But for me, it's very important that you give someone else an opportunity to then say, oh, hold on. If that query is then resolved and the person that was asking is saying that I'm all good, then you can do so. Then number 3, It's also what giving the lecturer a chance to what to finish the query that you've asked before you interject. Then another important one, I know some of you like to attend online classes in bed. So just make sure your video is closed and your mic, especially on Sundays. So I think we've had many prayers on Sundays during the session. So it's always good to get a blessing, but yeah, just make sure what your cameras and your mic are closed. And I know we've got good singers as well. So there are those kind of consideration. Then as well, um, what we are asking is also that you keep what you keep your mic closed at all times. I know sometimes it's so easy to just have them open, even when you're not asking questions. So it's always good to just make sure you've hit that mute button. It helps. Then the last one, be present. Usually the lectures are no longer than what? 3 hours. So we just say commit to the class. Um, the lecturers, including myself, we will not have our phones here. So we'll ask the same of you to say in the 3 hours, please make sure that your phone is away. Whether you're here or again, you are what? You are at home. It's quite important that you see value in this class, and we will always come fully prepared to just make sure we make the time that you invest, it's also beneficial. And yes, most of you, you'll tell me you're auditors, you're busy, and so on. But hey, I understand that. And it's always very beneficial to come fully prepared for this. And being present does not just talk to being present at the time of the lecture. It means that before you come, if there is a question that you are required to do, make sure you come having done that. If there are notes that were given to you beforehand, make sure you have come, at least have gone through them. And when you are here, be here until the end of the session. It goes a long way, because sometimes time is so constrained that you can't be attending a 3-hour class and you then say, I have to watch the entire video once more. It is just requiring quite a lot of time. So these are just the 7 house rules that I'll want us to keep throughout the session. So these lecturers have got the same house rules. So they don't attend to phones during class. They don't attend to WhatsApp, query calls, and so on. And because life happens, unless they are what? They are those unforeseen emergencies. Okay? That's it. The house rules. Then the support team. So here for us, we are here to serve you. And this is where now you'll see on our website, we refer to the team that looks after you as caretakers. So that's what they do. They look after you. They take care of you throughout your time with us. And the way that we see it, we've got what we call candidate caretakers or program caretakers, as well as the technical caretakers. So from a program or candidate caretakers, your point of contact is Victor. Most of you will have already encountered Victor through chats, via the workshop, and maybe from somewhere else as well. But he is essentially your go-to person. If you need anything, if you're saying that I'm on my universe and I don't see this, he will be the one that connects you with the relevant people. If you're saying that I've not received my material and I got an SMS that there was on its way or the driver called me, he is then the person that will then be able to untangle that for you. So that is your primary, excuse me, that is your primary person throughout your time with us. So he understands the program very well and will then be able to give you any guidance that you need throughout your time with us. Then there is me, myself, I then look after the technical, just to make sure that the program that we are putting in front of you and the people that we put in front of you are capable, competent, and are able to deliver what we promised you and what will be of value to you. So that means if any aspect of the program you're not happy with, my email is available. I'll also, most of the time here, you can always pop in and then we can talk it through. So the idea is that we want to give you a program that is effective to your preparation of ITC January 2024. So that come that particular point, you then what? You then have the confidence to approach the assessment as well as to come out victorious. So we are vested as caretakers in your success. We want you to do well. We want you to enjoy your time with us. We don't want you to be stressing about admin issues. We don't want you to be stressing about technical issues while you are in the program. So Victor and I are fully committed in terms of ensuring you get the very best from the team. And who are then the team that I'm talking about? So these are our technical caretakers, the professionals that understand what is expected of you from an ITC perspective. So just to start from what? From which side will it be? My right-hand side, we've got the respective discipline, which is accounting, audit, math, and tax. Remembering that things like ethics, we consider them to be under audit, things like strategy, under math, and so on. And from the top, we've got Asen, who is essentially the technical leader when it comes to accounting. So he's the one that almost everything that goes through you, that is your question banks, your material, the lectures, tutorial, they have been considered by him in terms of how relevant they are to your preparation from an accounting perspective. The same is true with Kumu. Same is true with me when it comes to math. And lastly, when it comes to what? When it comes to tax with Madodonke. So we are then the technical team leaders in that regard. So you'll also see when it comes to the technical guidance that we provide you, we will be the ones that are leading that kind of what? That kind of thinking and guidance. But afterwards, we've got a team of partners that we work through, that we work with throughout the program. So from an accounting perspective, it's Kanye and David, two individuals that are very passionate about accounting. So you will either encounter them through tutorial setups as well as marking setups. Then same for an auditing perspective, Unati and Funzo are some of the key individuals that we have there. So some of the team members, you might not get an opportunity to deal with them on a class basis, but you will then get to see them through, as I was saying, marking, as well as the Telegram groups that you will be consulting throughout the program. So this is then the team that will then be responsible and ensuring that from a technical perspective, any technical guidance, any technical query, consultation, it will be handled by the team that is before you. And as I'm saying, for me, those are the technical caretakers. They are still invested in your success, but they approach it from a technical perspective. And as I was saying, we have met and we've discussed what we want to achieve and deliver for you in this particular program. And if you are saying that, we will have also wanted to see this from a technical perspective because this is something that we believe could add value to our preparation. So those are some of the feedback that you can feedback to me, and I will then engage and escalate to the different team members. But in terms of the people looking after you or primarily looking after you, this is the team right here. Okay? Then the community. So as I was saying, when it comes to our programs, one of the things that we pride ourselves with, it's the caretaking, looking after our candidates. And there are different methods that we use. But what is always quite beneficial and something that we are strongly proud of. It's the community that we create through these programs. So when I talk about community, it's really to recognize that even before COVID-19, um, doing this journey all alone can really be stressful, especially when things are not coming out as you would like them to be. So you are sitting there at home, you are working through that question bank, and it feels like we have just chosen the most difficult questions for you, and it can be quite frustrating. Oh, it could be a situation where now you're saying that I have done this, I've done script review, I've done this, and I'm still at a place where I don't feel that I'm supposed to be at. Sometimes it could take just a conversation with one of our caretakers, or just one of the students, or even a previous student to change the perspective and be able to recognize some of the work that you've done, and that is enough to get you through. So that is where the community comes in, to remind you that you are not alone in this journey. Every candidate that is part of the program forms part of that community, and you've got an opportunity to do what? You've got an opportunity to connect with them. And from community, just to, I don't know whether it applies, but I was just recently informed that there's some candidates that actually are now husband and wife. I was like, oh, the community did more than what we expected. But I'm just putting it out there. I don't know who needs to hear that, but yeah. So that. But as I'm saying, the relationships that we have seen candidates forming with us as caretakers, they really transcend beyond the program. And we've got quite a lot of candidates that we still connect to from all the way back, because of just that kind of what community culture that we've got. So one of the things that I will strongly encourage you is that do not be an island when you are part of the program, but engage with us, engage with the program. We have designed this to make it work for you. And it is always quite unfortunate to then have candidates that will then what? Will not get the very best when we have gone out to give our very best to you. So what then does this community involve? So firstly, it's our campus. So we really thought long and hard about our decision to come back, to say that, yeah, online is quite convenient. But we then thought that, is it really then the best way to then establish the connections? And yes, some are able to connect, some not so much. I know some that before COVID, they were very reserved. Then came COVID, and in class, like, I didn't know you could talk like this, kind of. But then it's a different environment when you are here. And one of the things that we used to have candidates coming here, especially during crunch time, and they will then um, not that I'm encouraging it. It was always weird for me. They will have blankets, and you're like, wait, what's happening? So the reality is that when it comes to crunch time, you want to surround yourself with the same energy. Being at home, especially now in the summer season, it's so easy to just relax, so easy to just find yourself not doing much. But you come here at campus, you've got other candidates that is committed, and there's aircon, so it's a really good environment to be in. And one of the things that you can do after work, you can just set time and say, yeah, 6 o'clock, knock off, 1 hour break, go to gym and so on. 7, you are here, and you've got the campus to yourself and your group members until late in the evening. So we've really came back to this campus so that the candidates that used to benefit from such a setup can continue to benefit. So that is number one. And what I'm saying come Jan, we used to find quite a lot of candidates here that will be engaging using these boards to say that, yeah, today this is the plan, then these are the key takeaways. So it's like no one should leave until they've completed the task list that the team had set up for themselves. So that's something that I'll encourage everyone who can make it to really take advantage of. So that's one. And number two, another thing is when it comes to accessing the videos, You just want the comfort that sure, yes, it's online and yes, I'm committed, but sometimes you want to save on that data of yours. So here you've got unlimited internet access. You can go back to any of the missed sessions. You can access your CTA videos throughout, and it won't be a problem. So there's no need to tell you don't do funny stuff with the internet, right? I know you guys are matured and everything, so no need. So we also have a little kitchen on the side that we've got open. Um, before COVID, we used to pride ourselves with Jacobs, but being accountants, the price is almost tripled. I can't believe it. But we still have it because people loved it. So if you are one of the fans for Jacobs, so we have Jacobs SEO Primary Coffee. I know we don't have that brand that I think all of us had it when we were kids, the orange one. So we don't have that. We have Jacobs for those that are coffee lovers. And come summer, we've got Oros. Oros price also has about doubled since COVID. So you see that it's a very nice setup to be here. So those are available. You've got a microwave, you've got a fridge, so you can stock up and just make sure that when you're here, you then don't have to worry about much. But obviously, we've got online. So the online team members, we've got a Telegram group. So the Telegram group, once you have gone in, you will see that we've got different groups in there. So we've got what we call the technical groups where you can engage with the lecturers. Excuse me. You can engage with the lecturers. You can engage with your fellow candidates. You can engage with the caretakers. And then there is an announcement group. So then it's where we were found that especially come exam registration time. So just getting a reminder from the candidates there to say, hey, registration is opened. Oh, you are sitting there and wondering that, wait, I've not gotten my registration letter or admission letter. Should I be worried? Then you can find that, oh, no, wait, there's no issue. Maybe someone has already contacted SAICA and SAICA has provided feedback. So you can take away that from each other. Oh, you are studying and you just want to clarify something, take a screenshot, drop it in the group, ask one of the lecturers to assist, and they will do so. Oh, just have a general question to say that, guys, I struggle with an approach when it comes to revenue. Can anyone assist? So you can find that other candidates have mastered a particular technique, or a lecturer is available to then quickly attend that for you. So the Telegram group is available on the link to the Telegram group is available on your welcome letter, and it's also available on My Universe. Just scan it in and you'll then be connected to the group. So sometimes the lecturers are available at different times. So if you are one of those early birds, you can sometimes find someone. If you are one of the late nighters, you can find someone. And also, it just helps to remind you, maybe you are in bed there, you are browsing through Instagram, and you just see chats coming from Telegram. You know it's time to wake up and put the phone down. And it does help to just be reminded of that. So join Telegram. That's something that I encourage, and just be part of that community. Then the query management, we've got, we are in the process of upgrading our query management tool just to make sure that any questions, whether it's query around the material, whether it's query around any class schedule, a query around any administration issue, when you're on My Universe, there is a little chat bubble that pops up there. So you can click it and it can connect you to the online team or to Victor. So there you're able to quickly ask that, you wait, I'm on My Universe, I'm looking for this video, I'm not finding it. Oh, I'm on My Universe, I'm looking for this and I'm not finding it, and so on and so on. So the online team will then be available there. But you might be surprised to say, wait, I've gone through the site and I didn't find this chat platform that Renan is talking about. So it appears only during working hours. So if you go, what time is it now? 6:46. So after 6, it disappears. So if you go then tomorrow, I think about 8 or 9, that's then when it pops up, meaning that there's someone on the other side that will then be able to what? To attend to your query. But after offline hours, then it disappears. If then it disappears, then there's still a query management platform where you can do it, where you can log a query and it sends rather an email to the team as well as log it on our what? On our query management tool. So all queries will then be acknowledged. You'll get a notification that your query has now been attended to, and you'll be given a timeline that will be addressed within this particular timeline. And as time goes, you will then be what? You'll then get final feedback on your query. And if for whatever reason you are not satisfied with the resolution to your query, there is an opportunity to also do what? To also escalate the issue, where it then goes to us as the management of the program and make sure that any concern you have, it's well attended to. So we are saying that we don't want you to be bogged down in the admin of the program. We want it to run smoothly so that you can focus on the critical aspects. Then the last thing is the mentorship. So the mentorship is another community aspect of our program. So we've got professionals that are in either APC or otherwise that are in what? That have qualified, that have raised their hand and say that I know what it takes to go through this journey. I've learned a lot, and some of that knowledge I want to share with someone that is still in the journey. So there are people that have come to us, and we've set up a structure for them to come that are now in the database and saying that they are willing to help. So because this is Jan sitting, and most of the people have got holiday plans in December, especially CAs. So once you have money, you have December holiday, you have December plans. And I know you guys, your plans is to what? To study IFRIS and so on. But yes, once you are out, you'll then have plans as well. But because of that, unfortunately, the applications can only run up until the 3rd of November. So the people that are available, they want to know that there is someone that is requiring assistance as soon as possible, so that if it's necessary, they adjust their plans. So come the 3rd of November, that will be the last point at which you can enroll into what? Into the mentorship program. So that now, once you have been allocated a mentor, you can start forming those relationships, engaging during the month of November and December, even if they've got plans. Then if, let's say, they're out in the 2nd week of December, you will have had ample time to engage and form meaningful relationship with them. So if that is something that interests you or something that you believe you need, I'll strongly encourage you to do it, to enroll for the mentorship before it closes. Then, how do we engage with you in this ecosystem or community? There are 4 primary ways that we engage with you that I'll want you to take note of. Each of them have got their own primary purpose. There is what we call a welcome note. So the welcome note just formally gets you into the program and help you understand how the administration of the program works, as well as a lot of things that I've already spoken to, and what are then the key technical aspects of the program. So that's the welcome note. So the idea then is that you do what? You print it, you read it, and sometimes once is enough. But you might want to keep it as a reference, just to say that, all right, if now I need to contact someone, if now I need this, where do I find it? So the welcome note then helps in terms of what? Attending to that. Then we've got program notes. So the program will then officially be running from November, December, and Jan. So 3 months. At the beginning of each of those months, we issue a program note. So a program note is a detailed account of the weekly activities. So it will then say that in week 1, this is what will be happening in the program. So this is then the classes. This is where you're going to find the material. So it just helps you to navigate the program from an administrative perspective on a week by week basis, where you can then say, if your manager is saying that, here, you need to be around on this, you can say, but oh, wait, I've got a weekend class on my planner. Can I rather put in the hours here and there so that I'm not available on that to attend for the class? So that's what the program and note is all about. So if then there are also deadlines for submission of tutorials, there are exams, there are guidance that we're going to be publishing, the program note will help you to navigate the program from that perspective. Then we've got the technical note. So the technical note, it now focuses on the technical. So the program and the welcome note, the Victor, as the candidate caretaker, is able to resolve the queries that are there. But now the technical note, they will then tell you about what you are expected to cover in a particular week, which questions are crucial to then making sure that what you are sticking with the program and you are building up or developing as we have intended. So the technical note contains technical guidance on how to navigate the program. So it will even tell you that you've got 12 questions in the question bank. And you might be saying, that's a lot. How am I expected to cover those? So the technical guidance or the technical note, that's what it will help you to do. It will then help you to say, oh, because I don't have a class here, I can put 2 questions, I can put 3. So if I'm thinking I'm behind, the technical note says I need to just do 4 questions this month and I'll be all right. And that is the idea behind it. So the technical note, definitely a one to print, possibly put it up on a wall and make sure you then work against it. Because sometimes when the pack comes, it looks like a mountain. But once you have the technical note and it says, no, just do 1 question this week, do 3 in this month, you then realize, oh, wait, this thing is not so bad, it is doable. So that is the objective of the technical note. Then the general channels, it's the Telegram that I've been telling you about, to just say that, oh, if then there are weekly reminders, so the general channels, we use it if there are emergencies, maybe for whatever reason a class needs to be scheduled, or for whatever reason we are having technological issue and something is no longer accessible, or something is not visible, or something. Or otherwise, just to remind you that this is the plan for this week, or this is the class for this week. So that is general communication. So, and what then happens, general communication, because as I've mentioned, we've got Telegram, and we've got My Universe. All the communication in the program goes through My Universe. So maybe you found yourself and saying that I forgot my laptop, or my laptop has crashed and I just want to know where we are in the program, or my phone got stolen. Once you logged into My Universe, there is a section called My Announcement, and every program announcement, the welcome note, program notes, technical notes are available for you in one place. So it just then helps to just to make sure that, am I in line with the program? Am I sticking to what they had expected me to be at, and so on? So that is how then the general channels then just help in terms of putting everything together. But we always are committed to streamlining our communication. So our commitment is to not send you more than 1 email per week throughout. So you will expect an email every week that will just remind you that the weekly activities are this, reminder that there's a tutorial submission, reminder that there's this, reminder that there's this, so that again, you can plan for what? For communication, for the week ahead. For those that are parents, I'm sure you know, especially if you've got more than 1 kids, and then they're in different schools or different grades, we don't want to add another communication to you. So 1 week, 1 per week, that's our commitment. So if you see another one, you know that something's wrong. Read that communication. Our commitment, keeping it to 1 week. Okay. Then this is the typical menu that you will then have come what? Come your finalization of registration. So you've got my courses, my timetable. So under my timetable, if you are joining the class virtually, that's where all the links will be sitting. Then under my courses, that's where you'll then find access to the CTA videos that form part of the offering, as well as the recorded sessions for the classes. So they're organized properly to make it easier for you. If maybe you are realizing that, oh, we've got a particular organizational structure and you're saying, maybe they could do this, drop Victor a note and we will then look into it to just make sure that it is easier for you to find your recording. But the videos are dated, where now you'll then find that it will be math, accounting, and so on and so on. Then under math, it will be lecture sessions, tutorial sessions, review sessions, and so on and so on. So all the videos are categorized to make it easy for you to find. Um, and also under my ITC Wellness, that's where you are able to do what again? There's something that we moved out. So, but yeah, you can find a mentor there. Yes. So if you then choose a mentor and you want to contact them, the moment they are approved, you will then find them under them, where now their contact details will be available to you and their email address. So that's for you and for the benefit of the program. So we don't want you to share their contact details unless you've agreed with them personally. So they've agreed that we can share their contact details with the respective mentee, but we then ask that you respect and protect their privacy. The welcome pack, access to the link, information about the web open day, the welcome letter, as well as the support team I've mentioned, and the chief caretaker's details are sitting under there. My announcement, that's where all those announcements sit. And queries and bookings, that's where you'll then be able to lodge a query, as well as my account, where the finance related information will be sitting and where you can select a mentor. So it's a simple menu. Just give it a day, play with it, navigate it. It doesn't change throughout the program to make it easier for you. So once you know it, you know it. Any questions on that aspect before we talk about the board course? Anything that you want to confirm? Let me see. Chat platform. Anyone? No chat. Are we good? Okay. Sure. Then the board course. Thank you. So from the board course perspective, this is the excuse me, a slide that I love just to talk to because it's very important and worth remembering. And this, you're going to hear quite a lot in the guidance video. You're going to hear quite a lot in our classes. You're going to hear quite a lot in our reviews, because this is what defines a CA. This is what makes us to be number one. You saw we are number one, right? This right here. So one of the aspects of that is that we are good at what we do in the world, by the way, not just South Africa, not just in this province, but in the world. And what makes us good is because the profession has really grown and matured to embed this concept of critical thinking. And when you go deeper to say, well, what is happening? What does it mean when you say someone is thinking critical or is a critical thinker? Simply said, they don't take things as given. So even when we engage with you, yes, you can say that, yeah, no, but these guys have been lecturing this thing for the past so many years. It doesn't matter. You as professionals, it means that anything we put before you, you should be able to challenge. That's how you learn. So it means that even if you are saying that I've got only 10 questions in my question banks, don't look at it as a number, but look at it from what are you going to take from it? Think about it as how do I then implement this concept of quality over quantity? And this is embedded in this concept of critical thinking, that everything that you do, you need to take a step back and say, why is it supposed to make sense? And for me, that's how you learn, because when you even get to engage with those ITC questions, you will sit there and you will then have a question to say, discuss or critically discuss the factors that the board needs to consider before making this decision. And you find that they say 10 marks. You open the solution, they've got 30 points. Then stop and say, why did I struggle with that question if there are possible 30 questions? How did someone thought through these 30 points? What is it from the scenario that should have given away that I could have done so much? So always ask these kind of questions. So you will see in the first technical guidance that we'll be issuing at the beginning of November, we encourage you to be critical thinkers. We encourage you to approach the content, the course, the program in a different way, in that inquisitive mind, to understand that I've been doing this thing. Why is my approach not working? Why does it seem that the examiners always catch me out? So what is it that I need to be thinking about in a different way? So there are some questions that we have then framed for you so that you can start asking yourself. And if those questions are making things difficult for you, remember, we are still available to then what? To then support you throughout. So that's number one. Number two, it's integrated thinking skills. So we cannot undermine the need to be what? Integrated thinkers. Because the world, I'm sure your boss does not say that, no, just tell me about the accounting implication. They will then tell you that, yeah, what do you think about this situation? And you're like, wait, so what do you mean from an IFRS perspective? But people don't talk that way. So that's what even SICA does not want. They don't want you to be in this box of thinking, but they want you to then start thinking in an integrated manner. And that's what the 30 minutes reading time is all about. You don't have it required, you just have issues being thrown at you. And you should be able to say that based on this, based on the content that I've got, this is clearly an NPV situation. This is a valuation situation. This is an audit matter, but this audit matter requires this accounting. So they want you to be able to think in that manner. So I like that little head that is there. Like it just shows that everything is connected. It's like one thought, but with many branches. And that's what integrated thinking is all about, connecting different ideas and to be able to present them in a convincing manner. So integration from an ITC is not going anywhere. And just to give you a glimpse, this is how ITC June looked like. So ITC June, you can start from the top to say, from an accounting perspective, an accounting question had intangibles, associates, and joint ventures. I mean, those things are a little bit worlds apart. And if you have done your CT at UNISA, you know that one, it's sitting in a different accounting, and the other is sitting in a different accounting. But ITC is saying that no, this will expect you to untangle in a single paper. Then in the same paper, there was capital investment appraisal stroke valuation. So again, they want you to be able to think through those things in the given 3 hours that you have. And as you can see, this was the theme throughout. Then technical skills. You will not do well in ITC if you've got significant technical gaps. It's okay not to know everything, but it's not okay not to know a lot of things that are foundational. So there are things in CTA that we can sit and agree that they don't make sense. Some of the things I woke up as a CA and like, oh, I realized what they were trying to do in IFRS 3. So that's going to happen to you. Some of the things, I don't know why they don't make sense while we are studying them, but they will make sense later. But the foundation will always be expected of you. So you will need to know the foundation for each and every discipline. Then yes, there will be some of those matters that are a little bit tricky and complex for you. That's where you need to engage us, consult, engage the videos, and make sure you give that your very best. Okay? And as I'm saying, as I said, that yeah, doing this program, it helps to have a community, it helps to have strategies that build you up and that help you to manage the nerves in those in those difficult moments. And in terms of what the program has installed, so the program, we have then summarized it in what? In these 12 blocks, to say that when you are registered with us, this is what you can expect. Lecture sessions that will then be hosted on a live basis, or otherwise that will be hosted on what? Otherwise that will be hosted on pre-recorded basis. So when I say pre-recorded basis, there are some instances where, like for CTA as well as some ITC content, that will then decide to record it for you and make sure that you access it without necessarily being in a live class. The classes themselves are not intended to cover everything. We only have about 12 hours for each discipline from a lecture content perspective. And we'll be lying or remiss if we then say that we're going to cover the entire CTA syllabus in 12 hours. So those lectures are not for that. They are to cover some of the most complex topics. They are to cover some of the most foundational and relevant topics. They are there to cover some of the more common issues and to provide effective guidance, allowing you to engage in a back and forth with the lecturers. That's the primary objective of the lectures. Then number 2 is a tutorial. So in this particular program, there are tutorials that we're going to be giving you when the month of November kicks off. So you're going to get those tutorials in advance. And we want you not to have any excuse, but we want you to know from day one that this is the expectation from you. So the idea is for you to write the tutorials at home. You don't need to write them with the notes in front of you. No, you don't need to write them with what? Under exam constraint. So the idea is for you to come and say that I've studied these topics. This is my best attempt. Can I get an independent feedback on how I'm doing? So the tutorials are marked by our team of what? Lecturers and markers. Then detailed feedback is given to you, where we tell you, what did you do well? What did you not do well? And what is our advice to you going forward? Then you have someone that will then walk through with you those tutorial questions, talking about exam technique in terms of reading the question and exam technique in terms of responding and how to deal with the easier set of marks. So the tutorials will be delivered in the last week of December in our program, not last week of December calendar month. So that is in the weekend of, I think, 15, 16. That's when we'll then be dealing with the tutorials. And because sometimes some of you might already be home at the time, so what will then happen is that the tutorials are delivered virtually only. So you'll then be able to attend the tutorials via Microsoft Teams. So that is the tutorial program. So your timetable will clearly indicate when you're going to receive the tutorial and will clearly indicate when the submission deadlines are sitting so that you can do it, so that you can submit in a timely manner and ensure that you have what? Feedback received back to you in a timely manner. Excuse me. Then you have what we call examination reviews. So as I was saying, when you go to my courses under math, you will then have lectures and so on and so on. But the other is examination reviews. So you are going to get a question bank. Your question bank is going to have a number of questions. Then on the table of contents, you're going to see a little video next to the name of the question or company. That indicates that if you go to my universe, there's a video discussion of that question in reference. And what a lot of candidates have said is that sometimes I'm not a consultant. I don't like to consult and so on. I prefer to do a question and just to sit back and someone talk me through how I should have thought about it. So we have videos on some of the questions in a question bank where we do that. So you will then see that indication. And when you go to my university under exam review, you'll then find a video. So this is where the lecturer will then go through the scenario and say, in the scenario, you were expected to pick up this, you were expected to pick up this, and you'll be saying, oh yes, I missed that, I missed this, oh, I'm on the right track. So that means I don't need to worry about my reading capabilities. Now, let me go to the solution. In the solution, this is how you are supposed to structure it. You are supposed to think about this. This question at 10 marks, but these 5 marks are the easier ones. And you start now improving your examination technique as well as your critical thinking. So that's what the examination review sessions are all about. So for some, they work quite well, and they've requested that we do it, especially even for some of the complex aspect. So there are some that you might find that in a question, there's just a little transfer price covering part C, and you're like, why? Because they will have said, or candidates will have said, guys, I'm doing A, B, C, and D, but I don't know what's happening in C. Can you help with just doing this? And if the query comes up quite a lot, we then accommodate that request. Then technical knowledge. Once you have your profile activated, you will then get access to CTA 2022/2023 videos. So here is just to say that sometimes you know that you didn't do well in ITC because there are things that you legitimately didn't know. Yes, you tried to wing it, but examiners caught you out. So you might then say, maybe I need to schedule a time where now I cover, say, IFRS 3. I need to schedule a time where I cover allowance syntax because I see they keep coming, but they keep tripping me off. So those videos are then there to refresh your technical knowledge. And again, you need to balance them off. Do not plan to cover all the videos in the next 3 months. Again, those are CTA videos. CTA minimum 6 months. So if then I say to you that, guys, everybody needs to cover those videos within the next 3 months, you know that will be a ridiculous request. So that's not our expectation. So once you have gotten the technical guidance and you know that it is recommending you do something, and maybe you do a question, you realize I've got a big knowledge gap, what do I do? The notes and the videos are your best starting point. Then script review. So script review, something that a lot of candidates have found to be quite helpful, and we do it every year just to help you to better understand what went wrong. So I'll also come back to it in terms of what, in terms of how it's going to work for June 2024. So the script you then requested from SciCam. So if you want this service, we encourage you to do it as urgently as possible. So the process of getting a script for ITC can be quite onerous because it gets scanned. So you don't want to be in the queue if maybe they receive 1 million requests and they have to then get people to scan and send back. So I'll encourage you to request as early as possible if you are interested in that service and submit that to us. Then we will then start with the reviews. So when we talk about the reviews, again, we take the script and we now not focus on remarking. So we don't do the script review to validate Psycha's marking to say, yes, Psycha didn't make a mistake or they made a mistake. The idea is to help you understand what were some of the evident shortfalls that we'll want you to address. What are some of the things that you're doing well? I've seen so many candidates that after the results come out, they say, Brendan, I know it was text. Text has always been a problem. They get their script, then they got 55 for text. I was like, that means there's a bigger problem. You don't know what went wrong. So it's very important that if you are there, you then do what? You then use or take advantage of this service. Then the mock exams. At the end of the program, come Jan 2024, we are going to then have a mock exam that we facilitate here as well as online. If you can come here, I encourage you to come here so that you can start what? You can start getting used to what? To the pressure, the environment, and so on. You know, when you're home, like I was surprised, but not you, some of my other candidates, that they were telling me that when I give them both the scenario and the required, and I tell them to look at the required 30 minutes, they start with the required. And I was like, no. They're like, yeah, but yeah. I was like, no, you've now undermined the assessment by doing that. Because you are now, as much as writing under what? Under exam constraint, you have now changed the dynamics of the exam fundamentally, and you still are not prepared to handle that 30 minutes come the assessment. So I will encourage you to come here. So you'll see that some of the caretakers that are nice on the exam, they are not nice. They will remind you of those Psycha invigilators, which is quite good and can help with better managing the pressure. Then the online community, we've spoken about that in quite a lot of detail. We've spoken about mentorship support as well as caretaking support. But if one is to say, what is the program all about? For us, these 12 blocks talk to it. Any question? Any question? Any point of clarity? All good.
No,
Ru, do you have a question? Ru? Or did I miss you? Oh, I see. Okay, thank you, Victor. So, no questions. All good. Simone, hi. How are you doing, Simone? Okay, I'll wait for the chat, but it doesn't seem that there are any questions. So let me proceed. Okay. Okay, please explain the script review in detail. I've submitted, wanted to know when will I get it back. I'm well, thanks, sure. All right, sure. Let me go back to it. So when it comes to script review, so one, you will need to first get the script from your professional body. So South African, obviously, SAICA, Zim candidates, ICAS, Namibian, ICANN, and so on. So you have to make a formal request. In terms of the process, I understand that there is a link in your outcomes letter. So when you get your outcomes letter to say that paper 1, this is how you did, paper 2, this is how you did, and so on, there is where they say that you've got the right to request. I think the rate when I last saw it, it was about 200 to request the script. So you then follow that process. I don't know whether there's a form or you just click and it's a formal request, but you have to make a payment before you get your script. So you make the formal request to say you want your script, and what then the professional body send you, it's one, your originally written script, unmarked. So when we mark at SAICA, we don't touch your script, as in we don't tick, 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 tick. So you'll find that your script is unmarked, no any markings from a SAICA marker. So it's a big document, about 40 to 60 pages sometimes, all the papers. Then you get what they call a rubric. A rubric, it's an extract from the system. So when we are there at SAICA marking, we go take your physical handwritten script. We then open a screen on the marking tool, and we then read your attempt. And on the screen, we've got point number 1. The candidate has identified that what investment, if there's an investment, funding is required, 1 mark. And then they've also assessed this against the target capital structure, 1 mark. Then they have calculated the cost of the capital, 5 marks. So what we then do when we've got that script, we then hold it and say, did the candidate discuss this? Yes, they did. I click 1. Did you discuss this for capital structure? No, you didn't. Then I click 0. And I've marked, and the system then adds up the ones and so on and so on. After that process, then the script is given to another marker who marked your script blindly. And they don't know what I've given or which points I've given. So that marker starts from scratch. So then they do the same thing on the system. So before you get your script or before your results are signed off, the system then compares my mark with the other marker's marks, and it says that Rendani and marker 2, you guys gave the candidate 5. Rendani, you gave 5 marks for a question out of 10. Marker 2 gave 7 marks. Then sit with the other marker and decide why you are indifferent. So we are required to align. So after we have aligned, then the system captures marker 1 and marker 2. And that is the report that you get. So your report will then have the responses, a column for marker 1 and a column for marker 2. So with that report is then sent to you to say that when they say you didn't do well in this question, you then scored these indicators and you didn't score this. So now you submit that script of yours as well as the report. And it comes to our marking team. Our marking team reviews, but the way we review, as I was saying, we are not validating whether we agree with marker 1 and marker 2. We are now assessing what are the indicators that you missed talking to and the ones that you have secured talking to. Because they are indicators of communication. They are indicators of good approach. They are indicators of good technical knowledge. So when we are doing a script review, we then apply ourselves to say, what does each and every indicator represent? So that is the first process we undertake. So that when we give you feedback, we then tell you that as much as you missed 3 marks, where you are saying it's not a big deal, we are saying the problem is that you are missing the exam technique marks. You can't afford to miss exam technique marks. So what could be an exam technique mark? An exam technique mark could then be what? An exam technique mark could be a situation where now we wanted you to calculate an NPV and you have an answer to say NPV is X, whether it's right or wrong, and there's a mark to it, that's an exam technique mark. But then there are technical marks, which will then say that you needed to identify that this person was married in community of property, this person was a non-resident or not. You then also went through the test correctly, and so on and so on. Those are technical marks. So that is what our review is all about. So it then empowers you to know whether I've got an exam technique problem, I've got a technical knowledge problem, or I've got a communication problem because I'm not securing the what? The communication credits. So that is what we do from a script review perspective. So as you can see, we are not remarking. We are taking the view from SAICA as is. If we've got any reservation, we do reserve them. We are not going to get into that kind of what? Back and forth and so on. Does that make sense on how then the script review process works? Rondo? All good. Sure. Great. Oh, yes. So the question about that Simone has about when you get it back. So Victor, do they have the timetable? Just to confirm. So the timetable, what it does, so the timetable will note firstly when the deadline for the script review is at, and secondly, when we will be sending feedback. So where we are ready to start with the script review. But then the problem is always the coordination of the team. So we then have a deadline so that we can tell the team members to say that, can you give us 2 weeks for this process? And you will then do what? You will then review so many scripts for us. So we always have that issue to say, we have to then wait until a particular date and then say, we are closing script review for everyone. And then the markers know how many scripts they have to deal with. So on average, it depends on how we then split it. So if we give someone an entire paper and say you are an auditing paper person, and auditing is one of the biggest one, some markers can get through about 5 to 10 on a weekend, because it's such a heavy process. And depending on the numbers that we've got, usually we target 2 to 3 weeks from the end of the submission date. So what we always aim to is to either, I'm not sure whether there's a specific date that has been put. If it is there, maybe you can type it in for everyone. But then what we then do, we are saying that before we leave, we will want you to have that feedback and have worked through it. So that come Jan, you know what are the issues that you want to work on that prep exam. Yes. So the issue, it's always a matter of if we close the timeline earlier, we always have issues with candidates who say that, but I requested my script from a professional body and they've just not gotten it. What can I do? And in some cases, we had to be quite strict and then do it, and then have to implement our cut-off date where we had to refund some that had already paid, but unfortunately they could not get the script to us on time. So that's why my advice is right now. December is always better because they've already gotten time from the release of the results. The tricky one is usually around June, the June one, because the results come out in March, and then April, a lot of candidates are requesting, and sometimes they can put then the pressure, and then there are delays, and they come in around May. But if we start in May, it means that it's very close to what? It's very close to the exam and the end of the program. So June is tricky, December is a little bit better. Okay, so yeah, Victor will just confirm the dates for us in the chat, please. Thank you. I got my script. Yes, some of you have already submitted your script. Thank you. So the first part from our side is the training. We need to train the markers and make sure we are aligned and agree. This is what we are looking for. This is how the feedback, this is what these indicators mean. So therefore, if a candidate has missed this is what it means. Okay, so some of the interesting feedback that we received from our previous course, the June ITC 2023 course to be exact, is the feedback that I've shared with you here. And when it comes to the script review, yeah, quite a lot of people that undertook the process did find this to be very useful in their what? In their development needs. So as I was saying, the script review focuses on the themes that are not demonstrated and therefore need to be worked on in order to secure your success. And based on that feedback, we've got candidates that are already enrolled into our program, and everyone that is currently enrolled, they will then be getting the script review for free. Then additionally, up until the 1st of November, we are saying that if you then register for the main program, you will then also get a voucher that will give you 100% off your script review. So this is for the first, no, it doesn't have a number. I remember there was a number. The first 20 candidates. So the first 20 candidates that will then be registering from today up until the 1st of November, that script review offering will come at no additional cost to them. So the process is handled in terms of when you register for the main program, you get a 50% voucher. But if you are then part of the 20, your voucher then gets automatically upgraded to a 100% voucher, meaning you can just go and add a script review offering, and it will then net off the invoice to zero. So that offer is available to everyone that is currently in the program. And in addition to any candidate that will be registering from today up until the 1st of November. So if your voucher is not saying 100%, you can contact Victor and it will just ask the online team. It's just a click of a button and the voucher will then say 100%. When you go to the store, you just click that voucher and it will zero the invoice. No else to do. It won't open up pay first, so therefore there won't be any additional charges. But this is only applicable if you are registering for the program and adding a script review on top. So that is then the idea. Then another thing that is also just worth highlighting, the program notes and the technical guidance. We asked candidates whether those were quite same. Yes. No, so if you are registered, if you are already registered, in other words, you registered before, your voucher should have already been updated. If it's not, then Victor will sort you out. But your voucher should already be updated. So you'll have gotten an email, right, which will say your voucher is 50%. But when you go to on store to my universe and say my vouchers under my account, it will then show 100% if you're already registered. Yes. Sure. Yes. Okay. So yes, so as I was saying, the program notes and the technical guidance, we asked the candidates if they were useful in terms of helping them to structure their timetable. So 95% of the candidates did agree that they found those technical guidance and the program notes quite useful. So that is one of the reasons that we are very committed to ensuring that we get those to you and make sure you are able to use them to plan for your program. Yes. Okay, so the question is just around whether the script review offering is it applicable only to June 2023 sitting or any assessment before. So it is only applicable to the recent ITC. Yeah, and the reason for that is because we have different teams that we're going to train now on the June 2023. So the ones that might have done the Jan 2023 or anyone before, it becomes easy to get hold of them. And now one needs to run a process once more. So the idea is that for efficiency, we then run the script review process just for the most recent sitting. Sure. Then additionally, we asked the candidates about the lectures, the one I was telling you about, and 98% found those to be very useful. And I think for us, it's always a balance of not too many and not too few lecture sessions. And I think when it comes to the 12 hours per discipline, I think that's the sweet spot where now candidates are saying that I've got the videos, so I don't want you to be repeating what's already on the videos. And there are these other aspects that I'll just want to be entrenched from an ITC perspective. How do we meet that balance? Then the tutorial program that I also spoke about, 95% of the respondents did find that to be very useful in terms of the feedback in terms of the feedback that it provided, the review sessions, and also the detailed personalized feedback. And when it comes to the question banks, candidates love question banks. Yeah, I don't know. I know they are supposed to be helpful, but I find the love is just too much. But let's take it as it is. So the question banks we refresh them each and every year. So even the ones that we are refreshing them, moving things around, and taking into consideration that for the very first time, our CTA support program didn't have question banks. So we then said that there are some questions that are very good in our previous ITC question bank that we've now split into the CTA question banks. So you will see that when you go to the CTA videos and material, there will be phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 question banks. So those are some of the previous ITC question banks that we had. But we realized that they are so foundational in nature, those questions, that we wanted to then have them as part of the CTA program. And they are so focused compared to some of the more integrated ones. So they are very useful if you are saying that I just want to do valuation. And then there's a question that I can do quite quickly and it will help me to get up to speed with valuation. Then the assessment that I spoke about that we're going to be writing in Jan 2024, 95% of the candidates found that to be very useful. And for me, useful comes or arises from the fact of what? You are sitting, preparing for them, and you come and you give it your best. Don't be in that trap of, I just want to see where I am. No, you have to be fully prepared so that the feedback we give you, you know that it's reflective. And if it's highlighting things that you need to address before you're sitting, you can put your best effort into it. So also some of the feedback that we received from the candidates, very encouraging in terms of what? In terms of the delivery for the June 2023 sitting. So that's some of the things that we take very well, that we take very seriously, the feedback you share with us, and we then use it to improve future programs. So now, as evidence of our obsession, we really love to hear how you find the program, because when we get that feedback, it gives us the opportunity to undertake a reflective view and to then work at improving the program for you and future generations. So the way that we then have as mechanisms to just then hear about your journey, we've got at the end of the program a survey that we then will ask you to complete. So again, I'm making this call now. We will love to hear that feedback from you. Whether it's positive or not, we want to make sure that the things that we are putting before you are actually value adding. They're helping you to move forward and contributing to your success. Because we don't want to overload the program and then charging more for things that are not beneficial for you. Then number two, it's the testimonials. When it comes to the testimonials, we do request that to say that, yeah, we'd like to hear your experience. And also we use them in order to what? In order to inspire the candidates that are before you. So for us, two things are important: empowering and inspiring. So the idea is that a lot of the stories of the people that have gone through this program, we find them amazing. And when they share those with us, we are more than happy to share with the world and future candidates. Then in addition, we've got a complaints, feedback, and a suggestion form. How do they put it? When I was growing up, they always say that there's family stuff, so keep family stuff internal. So we have this process to keep the family stuff internal. We do understand that sometimes we do drop the ball, and what we just ask for is for us to be given an opportunity to correct. So there is a complaint, suggestion, and a compliments form. So if you find that the team is doing exceptionally well, please take the time to do so. It does help with their bonuses, so they will appreciate it. But when it comes to a situation where things, they're just not working as you would like them to be, it's not a complaint, but it's feedback. And we'll also love to hear from you, and we'll work on it too. Just make sure that it delivers the value that we want. And in the instance where we might have dropped the ball, then there's also an opportunity to lodge a complaint, and every complaint we do take seriously and we'll work at resolving. I know that sometimes there's a culture that, no, I don't want to complain. No, you should complain if you're not happy. So we will, and we are committed to working through that. So it's always best to hear it internally rather than to hear and say, sure, I met Matidi, so she was not happy with the program. She was telling that she wasted the money. So yeah, that's not always good news to hear. So rather tell us about it, and we will make sure we work at resolving it for you. Sure. Sure. You've got a complaint. Okay, Sean. No, just kidding. Yes. 100%.
So can you expect lectures, student confidentiality? Whatever happens in this program, in this functional space here. And then like I try the church, and this is of the team saying, no, yes, and I understand it's only 2% there.
And that's a very good point. So in terms of confidentiality, we do respect our candidates' confidentiality. So one of the things that we then did was, it what, two years back or just last year, I think from Jan 2021, we realized that our marketing teams was growing, and the scripts used to come with names, and then it'll be like, everyone getting zero. Like, I thought this person was doing well. So, and sometimes it's your colleagues that are marking a script. So what we now do when it comes to submission is based on candidate ID. And even from a marker's perspective, markers don't get the full names. They will get just the first name to be able to give feedback, to say, yes, hi, so on and so on, and this is what you did well, and so on. But in terms of your email address, in terms of your last name, those are not even available to the markers. So the only time those details are available is when you've opted for a mentor, and you specifically say in the mentorship enrollment, that we will be sharing this particular information with your mentor and why we are going to share it. Like we'll share whether you're a parent, you'll share how many times you've done ITC, so that at least when you connect, then the person knows that we are coming from this particular starting point. So yeah, the confidentiality of our students, we do respect. So fair point. Okay. And then, yeah, so again, in terms of just hearing from you, we would love to just also share some of your positive experiences with us via social media and Google reviews. And after you have made it, please come and be part of the candidate conversations. So candidate conversation is something we started around COVID. It has grown. A lot of candidates find value and just to hear about it. We've now packaged it in a podcast where you can just go to your Spotify, Google Play, or Apple Podcast, and you can find a channel with the previous episodes of candidates that have been through the program. And again, just to inspire someone. And it's always quite amazing. We do share instances where students come and they will be saying that now you see that particular person, that story just talked to me for one particular reason. And I think it's always about that, even if you look at that, why we are number one, it's got different elements, but I like the last element, which says purpose. And it says these CAs in South Africa, they strive to make an impact in other people's lives. And I mean, that's what we are known for. I mean, like, is that not a good reputation? But yeah, so I would love to hear your story, and I'm sure a lot of others will love to hear your story, and it will certainly impact someone. Then the thank you. So if you do that, so the idea is that pass ITC Gen 2024, simple, right? Tick. Then complete the end of the program survey, share the good news via one of our social media platform, and also a testimonial or candidate conversation with us. And see this mug right here. I wonder if it says, so it's got a name. So we'll prepare one for you as a thank you and for your loved one. So you get two personalized with your names. You just need to send your name to say, can I have one, two, so on. And because it's at home, you can put CAS in. SEGA will not know, and therefore it won't be a problem. So this, you'll get this, and you'll go also get a shirt from us, t-shirt from us, and it will be summer at the time, so it'll be good to have. Yeah, and we've got little beanies and a scarf if you are one of the scarf people, as well as a journal, just a thank you. I mean, this is a really good thank you, right? So please pass ITC. That's what we're all asking, and share the good news, and all of this will be yours. So that is just our obsession with hearing from you. So we will love to keep contact. We'll love to hear where you are after the program, how well you're doing, and so on. It's all about that for us. And just to then wrap it up, this is this is how the pricing or the offering actually works. So the main program, it's 5.5 plus 1,000 for early bird access. So that's 1,000 per month, by the way. So which meant that the programs opened for early access in, where are we now? In September. And then there was October. And now when we are going to November, the November now becomes the main program. So the main program is then 5.5. And that's what you can expect to pay. If you then register before the end of October, it's 5.5 plus a pro rata number of days that are left in October. Then the script review that I was talking about it's currently 1.5 if you take it alone. But if you take it with the main program, you then get that 50% voucher and it becomes 750. But for those that are registering before the 1st of November, then it means they can add the script review at a zero cost. So that's what I was talking about. The question bank, it's also, that price is available for people that are taking it individually. If you are part of the main program, the question bank, it's what? It is included in the cost. You don't pay anything extra for it. Then the exam as well, the one that is written in Jan, that it's separately 1.5. So to simplify it now is to say that if you register before the 1st of November or by the end of 1st of November, you will then pay 5.5 and any pro rata amount, but the script review, question bank, and the preparatory examination are all included in the tuition fee. Then if you want separately to purchase a hoodie, you can do so. Golf shirt, a mug and the journal, as well as a set of printed CTA notes, you've got access to that. So for those that, for instance, they didn't sit for ITC June 2023, and therefore they've got the voucher for the ITC script review, but either way, because they are not going to request it, you can use the voucher to purchase any of the items there. So that is for those that, maybe didn't sit for June 2023, but you still have something available. Okay. And that's what I had in store for you tonight. Any questions? Thank you, Victor. I see that Victor has already addressed a number of queries here, but if there are any, happy to take them. Other than that, myself, I'm looking forward to engaging with each of you throughout the program. All good? Thank you. Oh, wait, there's a question. Excuse me. So what is the cost for ICAS candidates? So the cost for ICAS candidates, so for the main program, what is different between the main program for South African candidates and ICAS candidates is the fact that currently we don't have a tax offering. And because there's no tax offering, there is a 500 knock, meaning that the main program for you, it's only 5,000 Rand. And the script review price, it's also lower. I think about 250 or 200, somewhere there. But you are also eligible for this registration discount that we are speaking about. So if you also register before then, you can get that for free. And if, again, you also don't have what? You also don't have the need for a script review for one reason or the other, you can use a portion of your voucher to offset the delivery fees when we deliver the material to you. Got that, Tendai? Okay. Sure. Thank you. All right. If there's any question I've missed, you can let me know. Otherwise, thank you so much. And see you when. When are we kicking off? On the 1st. On the 1st. See you then. All right. Have good evening, everyone. And anything else, we can chat via those platforms that I've mentioned. Have a good evening. Cheers.